Live. Welcoming everyone. With my moderator, can you put a topic for me? It's called, I always call it the Emancipation Edition, you know. Okay, so good morning. Moderator, you there? Yeah, man. I said, Jamaican time, a few minutes behind 8:30 Jamaica time is about 2:30 up there in the UK. And other parts of the world. Good afternoon, good evening, good day. Yeah, man, doing this Jamaica Independence live this morning. A quick little story time. I know. Something that took place 17 years ago. But this is where my channel or this platform I use to um, present some of the historical and cultural and all the Jamaican heritage and everything, And yeah, let's do. I'm indoors this morning, guys. Rush, rush. Anyone there? Morning, good afternoon. Rush for me this morning because I got a call last night from the mechanic. I'm in the vehicle here. The bonnet is open right now. Let me just quickly show you. The bonnet is up. Look, see the bonnet? That's the bonnet, This is not the bonnet there. Up. So, got a call the mechanic hot already, man. The battery is disconnected. I can't even nothing at all. I'm just sorting out about this vehicle. It was sorted out the other day at a garage, get some looked after. And then now my diesel pumps, my injector pumps. So I got it sorted out. I'm going to replace, put it in today and hopefully start, Independence Day. I don't know where, if it mechanic come in time, where can I go for my independence? A few places to go, But you can't give out the location beforehand because especially this political time. Yeah, man. Big up, sis. Welcome, Louis TV vlogger. You say me must keep an eye on my screen, so I'm gonna do that today. So I'm calling more because you don't know what I'm about. It's not funny. Yes, sis, my what's that? What do you think gradually? We working hard towards certain things. Yeah, man, too. So we can, yeah, man, what I say? Yell up, hello, okay, yeah, man, yes, Louis TV, welcome to, and you want to put a topic for me, man, you can do that. It's my emancipendence. Oh, can't show you the place now, man, because I'm in the vehicle, working and my neighbor washing his vehicle there, washing his vehicle. I don't want to show my location. I'm basically in the front of the yard. You see me? So, yeah, I was saying that last night. I got a call. The mechanic said he's coming today. So I said, wow, and I need to do something. So I have to get up this morning after going to bed very late. I said, go to bed like this morning. So I got about 2 hours sleep. And, the most I wake up in time. So now I rush out to get the engine washed. So guys, he's going to replace for me. I was just saying before you probably come on that it's my injector pump that went after fixing up the car the other day. And I get held up with the car since, the mechanic, so he held me up very long, months. My car was there in his garage with simple things to do, simple things to do. But yet, I'm not gonna say, boy, that acceptable. Yeah, man. So today, we can't even go nowhere. I can't even go to the river. Today I was supposed to go to, some friends want us to go to the river, man. And all of that. And then you have independence celebration. You have thing going on, a bikini party but also for the kids, children come out and back to school. I must big up Sizzler Foundation, Sizzler Youth Foundation, giving back to school books and bags and all these, you go to school, you need your book, your ruler, and your pens and your pen and all them things. They're doing it for the children, the family, yeah. So mothers going out, they call them, what they call them, mummies, them, single parents. Big up, all the single parents. So welcome to the Emancipation Jamaica's 63, happy 63 years independence. See? Yeah, man, 63 years now since we got our independence from the British Empire. Yeah, man, 1962. See? our first Prime Minister Alexander Bustamante. But it was, yeah, it was something that was in motion before. Yeah, Marcus Garvey. He was the man that set up the first political movement toward moving Jamaica towards getting its independence, you know. So throughout that in the 40s and 54, I think it was Jamaica's step away from the British. Some of them referendum, yeah. From they were part of some Caribbean, yeah man, organization. Then in they set up political party, and in 62 they got the independence from Britain. So with emancipation was granted to us August 1st, we celebrate our emancipation, and then we got but emancipation was in 1834, and some say 1838 onward. But I realized that what I'm going to talk about this morning is something to do with the abolition of slavery, which was also, so there's two parts to the abolition or the emancipation, the first part was from here. Come again. Anyone here, greetings again. I have a little show us Jamaica where you enter the vehicle in a motion, man. You don't know, I said I now call myself it is the Jamaican tourist, Yeah man, Jamaican tourist, because I love to travel and I love the outdoor, I love the leisure, Yeah man, I love to go to our scenic places. I just know about my island, like that. So you'll be seeing a lot of the island. I've been down, man. Been down for a very long time. Yeah, here with this vehicle here, and I miss out a lot, But give thanks. I'm still going on the channel. Still one coke, as we will say in Jamaica, full basket. Still doing the do, and yeah man, making the points. Yeah, so just don't give up, when I say I could probably further ahead, but leave this thing to divine timing, yeah man. Perhaps it's the right time. If I did probably whatever. We'll see what I go on from my screen. And thanks for the like and everyone that joined me. I just want more persons to come on for me start talk about this. How did I get to Fenchurch Street in the City of London? I know the person know about the City of London Corporation, and where you have, if you do your research, I want you to do your research on the City of London and the whole financial, London, City of London, the Bank of England, is that the financial institution or inner city that, when it comes to the stock exchange or the exchange, the banking system, it is, yeah man, we just celebrate in Jamaica here, we give thanks for the remittance, and we I said Jamaica, the pound have the heaviest weight, is the most money you get from the British pound, and then you have the euro and the American dollars. And right there in the City of London, you have the Bank of America, you have the Bank of China, you have the Bank of England further down the road, So they are right there in the city. You have the stock exchange, so it's important for us to understand the whole that the City of London was basically make up through slavery. Yeah man, sugar. So that monument there at Fenchurch Street, who's here with me? At Fenchurch Street, just stop the live when you come on to the live, my people. As I said, long time don't go live. My live, I try to make them educational. I do try to do educational and entertaining. From one of the bridges that say is him have this word, edutainment. Edutainment. Yeah man, Yasa Safari. Big up Yasa Safari and his poetry coming up. I think the 9th of August, the Poetry Fest in Kingston. I will get more information about that. So yes, so far, right? Sister, I'm going to eat from live and this morning time, this ugly buru banana. Yeah. So I want to show persons, because a lot of persons don't like the buru banana. I want to show that, yeah man, you can eat, And my morning breakfast too. A little bit of water. But imagine being a presenter and to have my viewers and eating on my platform. But a real time thing we are dealing with. Drink some water here. First thing in the morning, I tried to, I don't have anything. The first thing I have is water morning time. So this is I ate some banana just now, but I don't eat since morning. But I just went to bed after 4, nearly 5, and got up just after 7. And then I rush outside. You have to rushing up, because I said I'm starting at 8:30 and I start 8:34, guys. Big up on yourself. Thanks to all my viewers, man. Thanks to all my viewers and my new subscribers, It's a journey. Waste a lot of time at some mechanical garage waiting around, think I would have get my car fixed. Imagine you'll bring a car to a garage, you have to take it back and bring it back to your yard, innit? And get Jamaica, we have mobile mechanics. I'm gonna put away this back, man. I want to talk. You give me a minute, people. All that one person that I describe it, the Jamaican talk, a wickedness. It's a wickedness. Like you pay a mechanic, you pay him cash up front, and then you just take your vehicle and put it there. Have it there, take off the wheel and take off a few things, and then just have it there for months. And then I fall back in a situation and then have me there. I went back to the same garage, Yeah, man, had me there, same way. Another few months, I have to make a move now, man. So, for me, a lot of things. I have my garden, my backyard garden, working and doing some gardening, I have to leave that for some time. So everything is, what? You don't give up. Not giving up. Not giving up. So we talk, in on the life versus we just chit chat, but really I want to make a presentation this morning. I said, so I was up last night trying to this poet, this sculpture that in London at the Fenchurch Court. That's the site of a church there, Fenchurch. It is the St. Mary Walnut Church of St. Lambert, something there. Because I was doing make sure that I did some research on persons that were involved in the whole, what you call it, the act, the passing the law, that slave trade act. Man like William Wilberforce, is in England known to be the abolitionist, and yeah. So let me go into it slowly. So Fenchurch Court is the site of the churchyard formerly St. Gabriel Fenchurch Street in the parish of St. Edmund the King and St. Mary Walnut of St. Lambert Street. So all of that, what I just say is basically that where this sculpture is now located is on a court, in a churchyard. And opposite this churchyard, you have you see the Bank of England. So for me now, being an historian and finding doing this research here now, finding that the bank and the church closely involved in the slave trade, But it's how I got there. My people, I never know that there were going to be an unveiling of a monument or sculpture, in London on September 4th, 2008. So 2008, I was just at the time, I met a girl and believe me and she was spending some times together, She lived in a place named Hull. Not no, sorry, it's not. Not at Brighton. It's Brighton. I don't remember Brighton and another station out of Brighton. You have Brighton and another place. Can't remember. Some with age. She lived down that side, and so I would go Brighton, and she come London, and we were to have a day out in London. And we decided to go out in this in the I don't know if it was any holiday. The 4th of September 2008. We just went out into London. We have pass. You get some bus pass, train pass that will take you into the city of London. So you would have a stage 1, 2, 3. So stage one will be in the city. So we were just going through the city on the train, and I ended up in this part of the city first time, really. And when I checked out last night on the map, I realized that I've been around that area. I used to work in that area, so I used to take the train, and because you're going to work. Sometimes I wasn't a person that really hang out after work, just from work back home in that working period. But you come off the train, sometimes you take the bus, you see a few streets to look out and all them things, but to know that you have the St. Paul's Cathedral close to where I was working. Thanks for the love, sister. Yeah, man, thanks. I'm going at it. Hove. Yes, my sister, I need to look at the screen. Hove. Yes, my sis. Not Hull, it's Hove. Hull is way up north, man. Hull is a whole, what you call it, county itself. Yeah. Our whole parish. Everything is parish now. We learn about the parishes every day. So we have our parishes and lots of names in our parishes here in Jamaica. Is in England, come from England. Kingston, Richmond, name them. I find some evil here in where I am in right now in this parish, if you call them. All of them here in Jamaica. If you just put Cambridge down there in St. James, name them, all of them. So, Hove, I was traveling back to Hove a lot, and this girl came to London, so I said, let's go out for the day in London and in the city, and I ended up in this inner city where I saw some things like, in the show, you watch a movie, Oliver Twist movie, you will see they do shoe shine, and persons that sit on, persons cleaning the shoes and have the cloth, the band after, rubbing the shoes and pop, and everything, I see that, so I realized these were the bankers, and the street were narrow street. I might say these things are before, but because now is the emancipation, independence, and everything's come back up, 17 years ago, this, but it's like, it's important now in this journey here for me, and what's going on in our country, politically, and for the call for reparation, Yeah, man. So it's important that we tap back in, and it's important for us to know our history. So that day, saw all of that, and we keep walking. And when we walk, I met up this, like a breakup. It was the ending of a gathering, and a few persons were still standing around, And I saw this 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 sculpture, but these are some structures of some columns, standing there, and there's a podium, a pulpit, and to be honest, I get to find out, yeah, I don't remember if I did meet the Ethiopian, because the poet that This sculpture is a presentation. It's toward the bicentenary of the slave abolishment of slave. So it's 2008. They have the bicentenary of the abolition of slavery, and the Black British Heritage group with other groups like the I think the same St. Mary's Church, and let me find the names of the other groups. And they were the ones that involved, the responsible, the British Land Company also, yeah, they were the ones that put on this, and that's that was responsible for this monument or the sculpture. And I was wondering how, if I was early, because Desmond Tutu was the one that unveiled the sculpture. So I never see that bit. I never see the unveiling of the sculpture. Yeah, but it looked like the sculptor himself, the person that makes the sculpture, his name is Michael Visocchi. Yeah. And I met the poet. They were there talking. A few persons were still there having a conversations, in groups. When you go to these things and persons would like to meet the presenter, talk to them to find out what inspired them to make it them also. Um, so Michael Visocchi is I remember where he is, but I think somewhere in England he's from. And then even the poet is born in England, but he's from Ethiopian parent. His name is Lemn Sissay Sissay. Yeah, my sister pronunciation right. Then so they were there, and I my friend retired, female companionship. We stopped and I said, wow. When I make inquiry, what's going on, and knowing about the abolishment of slavery, bicentenary unveiling of this culture. I said, what? So there, I felt that, no, I was led there. Yeah, man, I was led there by the ancestors, man. I was led there to represent my, because I'm my ancestors, and my ancestors is I. Because if it wasn't for the ancestors, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our foreparents. So to know that coming from where the British Empire also have a colony, which is Jamaica, which is the first one of the first colony in the West Indies, yeah. And to know that Jamaica is one of the biggest colony, yeah. And to know that where even my parish, where I'm from, and the community, it has um, this strong heritage towards the whole slave trade, slavery, and the abolishment of slavery, because in further years, but in further years from the first abolishment act, where it was the slave trade abolishment law was passed in England, which William Wilberforce, and I will get my thing together, people, just bear with me. William Wilberforce is a politician, ex-politician, but he was inspired by a rector, a preacher, yeah, at the St. Mary's Walnut Church. My people, I'm just holding my head down because, they say me, mash up my mouth. So I'm not looking in the book, right? Just keeping, or visuality out of the, looking at my mouth. You understand? So, yeah. But I have my notes here still, but I'm from my head, because just going to this place, I never look into it, that I need to do the research more deeply, so I have my, and then as I go into it last night, I find that I'm going into some serious thing. I always speak about chief side when you have the families, or the persons, or the groups of people that actually run the financial state of the world. You know, I speak about these. I have times when I speak about these three states because I got the knowledge, you know, of the three states in the world: the physical, the spiritual state. Sorry, the spiritual state, inner city. Yeah, and then you have the financial state, which is the inner city or the same speed. Is all these are inner cities, you know. Yeah, small, just a square mile. The inner city of London or the city of London is a square mile, you know. That is just so before you have the what you call now the Greater London now, which is another organization or corporation. You had this little square mile, yeah, in London that actually run the world financially. See, financially, you know, the most powerful corporation financially. No, you know, and then but you have the spiritual inner city also that runs the world spiritually, which is in Rome. You know, Rome is Italy, not Italy. Rome, the capital of Italy. But in a Rome, you have this inner city, just in a London, same way. You have this big London, you have crowd because this inner city is on the other side of the Thames River, you know, from over the South Bank, you cross over from London Bridge, Blackfriars, yes, which is, I say, the closest, what I say. 'Cause if you go, yeah, if you take the underground train, you'll be places like Monument. Even when I used to come off of the place named Bank, it have a reason because around Bank you have the Bank of England, around the area you just step off the train. St. Paul's, that region, you get off the train in these regions, then you're in the inner city. See? So I used to work in the inner city. In the you know, I used to as I said, I used to work on St. Paul's Walk. And then I get even so close to this thing when I end up at St. Paul's Walk. I got I got what you call it? I got my boss come or my management came to me and said if I could come and work at an event at the palace. Yeah man. So I was supposed to work for they think working for that company they think I'm suitable to be a part of the team to go into the palace at the palace garden party or outdoors. So it will be probably summertime like now. And there were events to be held there and I was asked to work there. So that is how my whole story connects. So my let me not say I don't know. I know I used to sing before I leave the hills that the conquering lion shall break every chain and give I the victory. And I speak of my vision that I got, that I would have traveled and I should have, the vision I should say it, I'm gonna say it. Because Majesty was like in this vision showing that I will go and knock on doors. And when I knock on these doors, the persons are not going to know that I and I is a Rasta. They're not going to call. They're not going to see my locks. Because that was in the vision to say that I must cut my hair. I'm going to travel. So it's a mission. And I'm going to be knocking on doors and they will give me this certain thing and they will not know that I Rasta. But I call Rasta in my heart. You understand? I would be able to do the work. To do these work for Rastafari. And these were like years ago from right now, 2007 in the hills. Rastaman, no have no hopes, not even hopes, not even have no urge or no to go travel. No, never want to kill myself, to travel. But I have a sister here and we close, and I missed her, and at the time she couldn't forward to come and look for her and I. So I think that one of the ways to see her is to go and see her, spend time with her, So I tried. And a long story after that, you go to them place, you get caught up in the place and all them way there. So, but before I get the opportunity to try, this is what I said about vision because I can't remember, boy, sleeping, just go off in a trance, like smoke some herb and nod off and see this thing and get all of this and wake up and I say, look, you go, His Majesty, see me in that little nodding off what I had. It's a day, not now night, not no go to bed at night and sleep, I'm talking about, probably smoke some herbs and go off, you know, and have a vibration and rest up. And then you see all of this, and then you wake up and I just say, what? And then years after, in that same hill, couple, I don't know how long after, some man drive up in the hills and said to me, say, you know, my sister gonna give me a bus. I think it was a 4-wheel vehicle, a vehicle to drive to, because I never even think about the word bus mean to go to foreign, to get a ticket or a visa, you know. But anyway, go on with the story, is that I resist cutting my locks. I said, no, man. And I tried, and when I tried, I think it's the best thing. My reception into England at the immigration was great. Persons were thinking, even my virgin know that it was saying, boy, as a Rasta, they're going to be scrutinizing I and I. But as a Rasta, they love I and they just let me through quickly, and, you know, because my thing was just straight up. No lying about anything. My invitation and everything was straight up. So I was there. And I struggled, and then you end up getting some work and end up getting where I get the opportunity to go to the palace. I never went, but I had continuation wherein I recommend somebody, you know, to the job, and they got the job. So they've been to the palace, they've been to Buckingham, and they've been to St. James. So they tell me of what they see of or what it is like inside, especially St. James, you know. Nice little story, that one. But yeah, to know that I was in St. Paul's right there along that St. Paul's walk, as I say, I'm on the St. Paul's walk. So when I come out, I see the St. Paul's Cathedral. Sometimes I walk around, I see the streets are narrow, you know, guys. And when I went into that, even though I was working in that area, but that day, when I went on that day out, and came off the train up in somewhere in Cannon Street or not no, I came off at Fenchurch. I remember some station is close right there, you know. And then I see the crowd and the movements and everything. It was something new for me to being in London and being in other parts right round, and I've never seen that in London. So I was like taken in by everything that I saw there, you know. So how I got there, my ancestors led me to this occasion to see the unveiling by Desmond Tutu, you know, September 4th, 2008. Yeah. And if I could have asked probably the poet, because it is a collaboration of the poet and the sculptor that make it. So the story on that pulpit there, the pulpit there. So there is three things there. This whole structure or whatever, the slave trade in abolition in 1807. The sculpture there is three things it represents. Slave in sugar cane. You see the columns, these columns that I stood, yeah, in one photograph or one video I had where I stood amongst and with the column. I stood along the column. I stand, yeah, with the columns, and the columns represent the sugar cane, but it also represents a congregation or a mass, a crowd, a large crowd of people. Yes, fireman. It also represents a large crowd of people, and you have the pulpit. Yeah, and I have in my video also. I'm gonna post these photos on my post, my community post. Yeah, so these the pulpit, as I said, the columns represent a congregation or a crowd, and from the pulpit you have the preacher or the politician. I would have said no. I put the politician in it because they use it right now in Jamaica. Now they're using the pulpit here, yeah, at the podium when they give presenting both my party and the other side. I mean, I say my party now because as a Rasta man, we journey, you know, it's contradicting. And I reveal and I said this now because I grew up like that. I grew up in a PMP party, and I would have said if any voting, it would have been for the People's National Party. See, and if we now vote, Rasta now being given and say non-political, but at times my decision say we have to make talk when needed and make certain action because it is the inaction that causes the injustice or the evil to continue. And if right now what's going on in Jamaica, you know. Persons are saying that certain things are not right, and if it's not right, we need to make certain stand. So I would have used even with this platform right now to say, two, we need to make any decision for the to get rid of corruption. Yeah, man, especially Rasta. You know what the talk is now that corruption is a way of life, and that is not right. See, corruption is not a way of life. We used to say, we say Rasta is not a religion. Rasta is a way of life. And now Rasta, a lot of ones Rasta get religious because the whole revolutionary thing within Rasta, the movement is anti-slavery, because anti-slavery and white supremacist domination and all them things there. That is what Rasta is fighting against, the oppression of I and I. But we start to get too indoctrinated in or whatever from where we coming from. Because look, even the church there, St. Mary's Walnut, yeah, and the Stock Exchange London and the Bank of England, all of these um groups, organization or whatever, see, are involved in the slave trade. See? Yeah, man. So the three things there, the sugar cane, the pulpit, and the slave market. Because at that pulpit there also, it represents the auctioning, yeah, of the enslaved. They call it, they say slave of I and I ancestors, yeah. So from the pulpit, they will shout out, "Huh," and they knock the hammer, and they will sell I and I into slavery and all that. So the columns representing the cane, sugar cane, that is the whole thing was all about, the slavery, about the sugar cane, cultivation of sugar, for cultivation of sugar cane to get sugar for them coffee and tea. In a song I do alcoholic lyrics, I put it, say the sugar that sweeten them coffee and sweeten them tea. Because you know all of these coffee shops and all of them things, they require them sugar, they need the sugar. So everything, is a big industry. So it is said here in my last night I was reading that I was saying that the whole British, or the legacy of the British slave, what the inner city or whatever. Let me just see if I can find it here. I wrote it down, It's made up of sugar. Yeah, man, the whole city, so my people, the power of the finance, the money and all them things, and even the British Land Company, these organizations basically, we need to research them. Because as I said, my notes here, but now I will have to, let me take it slow. Can I do that? So I can use the right wording, what I need to say. Yes. That's a long poem, the guy that wrote this poem, Lemn Sissay. It's a long poem, I'm going to read the poem, so I'm just taking my time to, but also, I need to find what I was saying, about the inner city, how it is made up from. Yeah, here it is, man. It says London Square Mile. That is the inner city, London Square Mile is one big monument. So the whole of the London Square Mile, I should have underlined them to your right. So that could beat me for find my writing. I should have highlight it so I could use it. The London Square Mile is one big monument to slavery. One big monument to slavery. So all of these buildings, all of these churches, a lot of churches there in that London Square Mile. You have that you have the stock exchange, you have the banks there, Let me show you. You have St. Paul's, you know. And I was saying about the chief side, because me not too want, because you know, but you know, we have to talk a thing. Because, yeah, we have to talk a thing. So this organize this, we call the secret government or secret families, the Rothschild. I love use Rothschild, you know. Yeah man. And you have the ones them. Person listen, where I get this information from, I was I had a friend. Can't call her name Angeli. No, Angeli was the one that I was traveling with in a city. I think the other one was Angelique, just up from where I was in Bramley. And this girl was, yeah, conscientious girl, you know. And yeah, man, she she was a girl that, you know, she was always enlightening me about the system, you know. Like, the system is a fraud still. We don't know, like, the money and everything and how they control us with money and how, you know, process how we, you know, process like all the ones them know who conscious about this money thing and knowing that the birth certificate, all the one them who know about the stocks and bonds and that we are whatever, basically subject, you know, especially here in the Caribbean, subject to what they call this? The system, innit? I kind of talk around it still, but yeah, anyhow, my sister, we have in the list. I mean, I remember all of the names them, but I know a few of the names them I remember. But I had the privilege of having the CD. If I should be able to find it today there, I would have been more verse. I would have told all the families. But they are there persons, and there's a few people, a handful of people that are running the world, and they run the, and one of them, how they develop their wealth, they run the banks and all them organization, corporation and all them things. Them are the money people, them. Not even the president, they are the persons, as I say, unseen. You can't see them. So this girl was showing me these things, and we used to sit and have a lot of conversation about these things. And she gave me the CD, you know, but you have to give it back to her. And I was doing my thing, doing my research into the secret families of and them people, you know, the Rockefeller and the Rothschild, and if you call some names, they might come back to me now. But I know that they are out there and it's real, because one of them, I don't know if we should study it, I will research, you will find it. How he got his wealth is by the same market. But it was like a food market, or it was during the slave market. Could be the slavery too. But he was a clever little poor guy, and he used his entrepreneurship skills and developed into great wealth. Today, as I said, the rich people never control the world and everything like that. See? So, yes, I had that bit of information. I know that bit of information. I'm putting all the pieces now together. See? So, it was always there in my head. So we speak about this three inner cities. We're saying that the Vatican now in a Rome. So we go all over the place. And still me now use me have the notes I hear now. I'm gonna go through the notes and briefly make you not get it, make you not get everything in a quick but you have the Italy, Rome, and Vatican, the inner Rome. In Rome you have the Vatican, the square, inner city square, whatever, mile or what, I don't know. And then same thing in America. So these three countries. And what in my journey, in my travels also, I've learned about the obelisk. I've seen an obelisk. I've seen an obelisk. I've stood at the foot of an obelisk, you know, before. Yeah, there's one in Bath. Okay, and Bath, that is in Bath, in England. But there's also one along the embankment, near to the parliament. Yeah, and that these obelisks, these are spiritual structures, are they have meaning they are not just standing there. Even in Ethiopia, you have the stellates them where the kings are buried. Like if you go to Ethiopia, you'll see. I've never been to Ethiopia, but you know, you could do the research. You could persons who know what I'm talking about. You when like you have in Jamaica, people dead, you put this thing, what you call it, headstone on top of the grave. These back in the days when the kings in Ethiopia, they would have tall concrete structure go up in the sky, representing the king's burial here. So the obelisk now, I'm going too much into some reason where the obelisk is another spiritual significance same way. And anywhere the obelisk are, cause you find the obelisk in Egypt and in Africa. It's our African tradition. But due to the significance with the sun, cause in Egypt now the sun, which is the god system, the monothesis, and now we have and before we have polythesis same way, more than one gods in Egypt, and but of all the gods in Egypt, the sun is the most high, which is Amun Ra, the most high. So you have the water, the air, the moist, the sky and the earth and all these other deities. But the sun, and with life, here now we can't exist without these elements, the sun and the air, and the water, in the earth. So you even go back there. So the whole thing, the connection, and the obelisk also signifies the male and female, like the polos, the fertilization, reproduction, continuation. Because the obelisk male structure, concrete structure standing up erect. And then at the foot of the obelisk, you have a circle normally, whether it's there but it represents that still. Whether it's physical, you can see a circle, or invisible, you can't see it, but the circle represents the what you call it, the fertile, the woman reproductive. See? Yeah. So these structures, you find the one in America at the state of, we have the inner state of America. Now if I know it, but as I say from watching the video, where you Washington DC, Columbia State, yeah, State of Columbia, where you have it there now. Which structure is in that area? Which building? Which have they signified? Would have been you probably where you have Camp House of David. I call it White House and these buildings. I've never been to America, and I need to tap back in and to my knowledge again to find out. But in the Vatican you have, in Rome you have the Vatican where so that is, and then you have in America the presidency, and then in England now you will have the financial state. You have the king, the king, and and Bank of England. See, and I was just going to say that the whole slave trade was a lot of investors that come together with churches and probably other groups to do this. That's why they said it was legal. So the law now that was passed by the parliamentarian, the man they say that abolitionist, that was inspired by a sermon. May I go on with my thing, May I go on with my thing. By a sermon that was presented by John Newton. So John Newton is the vicar, would I say in England, or the rector, the pastor, the preacher for the St. Mary's of Walnut Church. That is the church that is found at Fenchurch Street. See, where you have the sculpture or the monument that was erected in 2000 and 2008, for the bicentenary commemoration of the abolition of slavery. Because they said slavery, the first part of abolition or the emancipation for slavery was 1807. See, that is when they said the law was passed for the slave trade abolition. Yeah. And then now in 1834, then you have another law that was passed more against slavery. So even though 1807 this law was passed, slavery was still being continued in the Caribbean because of two lines. One was probably to stop the trade in the selling. So yes, the slaves were already who were there. In other words, they would have said who were there, who are there already on the plantation. No more ship sailing across the Atlantic Ocean. Any ship, because John Newton, he was a slave trader, you know, that becomes a pastor. So imagine now, enough Jamaica, enough person would have said, we don't want to hear him a pastor because he used to do wickedness, he used to sell slave. And that's why when I go into the poem, you'll hear how the poet is saying that the auction block was on top while the slaves were at the bottom of the ship and crashing against the wave, cause you know the wave having the ship and all of that. So even in slave trade business, what they had in the dungeon when they would have captured us from off or from wherever part in Africa, they would have brought us to the dungeon for shipment to ship us across, you know. So where they stored us or keep us until they have the ship load, because these are the traders, you know. Me I talk about John Newton. When they would have captured us and brought us to the dungeons, and a lot of the dungeons are little offshore. I get, and some of the places are leave off the continent. It's the motherland, like you would have in Seychelles and you have Madagascar. They would have dungeons or places that they would have kept us before they put us onto the ship. In Ghana, persons go to these dungeons and see. I need to go there, these places, you know, to see for myself. Um, where they held us until them have a good load to go on the ship. Um, so Newton was involved in all of that. He was a slave trader and he was converted. So let me go in and start now and see if we can get my things together. So three things: the sugar cane, the pulpit, and the slave market. That is what the sculpture of that was unveiled 2008 in London. These are the three things it depicting, you know. It's depicting the slave market, the sugar cane, and the pulpit. And from the pulpit also, not only to preach sermon, because they use the sermon. Because remember, it is old slave trader, you know, John Bailey, and also all our ex-slave owner, man that was involved, investor in slavery work. These are the two persons converted, you know, or they said no inspired. They said John Bailey inspired Wilberforce. William Wilberforce was a member of parliament. He died, he buried somewhere there in Chelsea. See? A member of parliament. And he, you know, was inspired by a presentation how John Bailey preached is an anti-slavery sermon, you know. So this slave trader now becomes a reverend and preach anti-slavery, preach against slavery in England, where the parliament man William Wilberforce was in the congregation, get inspired. So him now become an abolitionist also start to lobby in the parliament against to end the slave trade in the British Empire, in the West Indies especially. I will say that, yeah, I will read that, yeah. So Fenchurch Street is the site of the churchyard formerly St. Gabriel Fenchurch Street in the parish of St. Edmund the King and St. Mary Woolnut of St. Lambert Street. The sculpture commemorates the abolition of the transatlantic slave trade in 1807, which began the process of emancipation of slave throughout, as I would have said, slavery throughout so the whole process of slavery, they said began from 1807. See, because from 1807, because in some places like in India, slavery never ended till 1843. See, so even when we said we got abolition, the emancipation 1834, it continues in India. Not an, when they, person who know about this East India Company, right there you find them in where when I go to that side, East London, traveling down to where would I go now? South End. Where was it South End? You pass the East India Company. All over London, you have the, as I said, the inner city. They says is a big monument of slavery. But when you come out of the inner city and even along the even places like Jamaica Road in Surrey, where used to have the when even right there at Tower Bridge, where the train would have not the train, where the bridge would have opened up for the ship. Yeah, so when the ship coming in with the rum and the molasses and the sugar, that is at the bridge that opens up and the ship come in and the ship would have right there in at London Bridge, the ship can't cross past London Bridge. So the ship would have docked right there. And from right there on one side, the south side of the river, we have a lot of the warehouses that store the sugar and all them things there. See, remember we put into it that when the ship comes in, yeah, at Tower Bridge, the person that's responsible for opening the tower, opening the bridge, he would have got his barrel of rum. That is a thing. One of the payment then you have to make. So every ship come in, you have to make sure that man get his rum, who works there. So, and on the other side you have London Bridge. Remember from London Bridge you have on the other side you have right there is the inner city. So the commerce would have take part on that side, I would have said, in the inner city, and the storage of the rum, the all Jamaica Road in Surrey. What's the name of that place? Right there in South London. Deptford was a big place. Deptford was the place that they make the ships, dry dock. We used to have a dry dock in Deptford. All of the London, right then that region there, we have our heritage, because let me continue. So the historical connection to the abolition movement of the 18th and 19th century. So it is doing this. We're talking about this. The church, St. Mary of Walnut, yeah, and the king, St. Edmund the King, and the church, the king and the parish in called it Fenchurch Street is in the parish of St. Edmund the King. We just speak about St. Edmund the King. That is the name of the parish. St. Edmund the and then the church, which is in that area, all of it is connected to the abolition movements of 18th and the 19th century. The Reverend John Newton, a slave trader turned preacher and abolitionist, was rector of St. Mary Walnut from 1780. From 1780 to 1807, that is when Newton worked closely alongside with abolitionist William Wilberforce. So the British, they give William Wilberforce because he plays his role, And right now, even right now in Jamaica political climate, them have to stick with the opposition leader Mark Golding saying that he's a white man from England. And with my travels and understanding and being around even some white people that also totally against what's going on, racism and in certain, I would have said, person, do we know that we were doing my research last night? Yes, my sister, doing my research last night, and I know all the time that there are always, with my friends, they would have enlightened me about the Quakers and all them things there, and I know that there are persons out there who is against the injustice in the world, regardless of race and all that thing there. And that is what Rastafari is about. His Majesty make that speech until there is no more first class, second class, color of a man's skin, color of his eye, no more significant. See? Then we're not gonna have this peace, and it's gonna just be like something hope for that have not obtained, that cannot be obtained if we don't break down these barriers and all these things. So we need to come together in this unity, for the disarmament. And I was listening to a virgin last night. This is what I read yesterday. Virgin named Gilly. Virgin, knowledgeable virgin. I think I made a post on my other platform, my TikTok. And persons, I must say, if you want to join or see some of the other things that I'm doing, I have an Instagram page, I have a Facebook page, but I use different names, for angling. But on my TikTok page is MABRAC, Mabrak. See? So I was on TikTok and I saw this Virgin Gilly. He's the author of the book. He's the author of a book, I Forge. Because Gilly have a long story of injustice. Gilly is a virgin that was imprisoned wrongfully in America for many years. But he's now free and he's back on the island, and whilst he was there in incarceration, he educated himself to degree level. I don't remember if he got doctorate or what, but he's a well knowledgeable man. And last night, listening to Gilly and listening to his platform of reasoning, Gilly also was learning and hearing some other things about capitalist system, and nationalism. These are things, because everyone, Marcus Garvey tell us, we're talking about emancipate yourself from mental slavery, seeing? And I know, because citing up my culture, seeing, from here before I travel, knowing that I avail myself to the ancestors, through the chant, through learning from the radio program. My Muta was the first program we hear where we say ancestor come and possess us. And we know that we open, and a lot of persons due to even the same Christianity, they are not open to their ancestral roots, ancestral spirituality. Because the way that we were indoctrinated, see, is that our ancestral spirituality is deemed as evil. See? So when persons like me get to understand, my ancestors and my ancestors, and I need them to be, with I and I guidance and everything. I avail myself to them before I even travel, So through I avail myself to them, I think, I am one of the persons that I hear people talk about chosen, but I was chosen even now, understanding by my ancestors. From my family, I am one of the persons doing my ancestral work. Yeah, man, love my ancestors, them, and avail myself to them. And they use me, and I have a rock, I said, in my ancestral throne. My auntie know it. Because the rock sit like, if it look like a throne, and it is in my ancestral land. So, yeah, my family don't feel no way. And if there's more than one of us that avail ourselves to the ancestors chosen by the ancestors, it even better. But I love my ancestors that so much, and love the heritage so much, and it goes a far way too. Then I realized that even one of my ancestors, or a name of one of our ancestors, I have that name, as the name that is on my birth certificate. So that even I was born, I think I don't know, I born for this, Yeah, man, born to this journey here, to free my ancestors, the bondage or whatever, to continue the work for my ancestors. That's what I need to say. Pretty it up. Yeah, man. So I feel good to know. Then I have those ancestors from 1832, or from even before that. That the ones that know we have slave prison there in my community. I would have, if I was there probably today, I would have gone there to pour my libation at some farm. Even if I buy myself, my people. And now that I have social media probably use my camera and do some, but even, and I give thanks when Bridget is at home now in the community there. He heard me up there once, was some probably Emancipation Day, one of those times when or it was African Liberation Day, with my drum, with my flag, and he came and he joined me. So now it's not just me alone, it's we're one and two together. They say the Most High is there, but all the ancestors already, all those others that were bounded in train and, yeah, man. So, yeah, I have lots of probably videos or times that I go to this place, the slave prison. I go to the Great House also, at times to continue. I'm one of the persons that, yes, I'm on this journey from a long time. So that's why I said I was led to this place. So this is now the history now, all the story now is for my children, great grandchildren to know. Yeah, man, I was led to the unveiling of this. I don't know how many other black people that were there in September 4th, 2008 at the unveiling, because I said when I went there, the ceremony or the unveiling was already finished. Desmond Tutu already left. He was the one that unveiled it. He already gone, But I was there, and I'm happy to know that I have photograph, and in 17 years after that, I'm speaking about it now. So, back to Newton, back to this slave trader that turned preacher and abolitionist. Was the rector. So he means that preacher. So Wilberforce wasn't a preacher. But Wilberforce was the one of the man that set up the Baptist Union. The Baptist Union is a church that come from England. See? The Baptist Union. See, I don't know if the St. Mary would come from off a Baptist. Because you have the St. Paul's Cathedral that was up the road. That would have been the Roman Catholic. I don't know where would have been. I might have to look where was the Church of England. Or if this was the Church of England. Because you have the Bank of England across the road from it, Because when I was standing taking my photograph, I was looking at the Bank of England. Looking at persons going up in the elevator. It's a glass building. See? So, probably this St. Mary is the Anglican Church. But Wilberforce now, he was the man that behind the, but is composed of a column surrounding a podium. The podium called to mind the ecclesiastic pulpit or slave auction. So the podium calls to mind the church, the preaching, the how would I say, the whole the indoctrination what they have on us then. Christianity, because even when they had the dungeon, on top of the dungeons, they had churches, the cross. Yeah? Remember, we know we do research that the Roman Catholic and the Church of England were two, I would say in my song, first contributors to slavery. So when they come up with the idea, look, we find land in the Caribbean, in the West Indies, we need to do something to make money or to keep for our economy. We need to make our economy. We go plant sugar cane. Let's go and get some, because they already have the taínos working or killing out the taínos. And then they need to get, so this is all the slave trade. They sail ship to Africa to get to find Africans. And the long story is how African chiefs sold us some through tribalism and war and all that story about we being tricked into trinkles like glittering things and get captured and all kind of rape. But even the poem, it speaks about, the poem will highlight a few things. The treatment. So the podium calls to mind the ecclesiastic, that is the church, the preaching, the gospel from the Bible and whatever it is. But the book, the Bible, you have ecclesiastic, or the slave auctions. Hey, my friend Susie, she never really come to this live, but me and she always talk about the first, what they call it, explorer or whatever to East Africa. And it was all the same persons. these men were now in Africa. You had my friend if you come remind me after my name. Because I thought no, I mean I tell her in Africa. What the man name my friend? Oh, can't believe that the names are not in my head now. But as a historian, I need to know. That's why I have to big up persons like Vernon Shepherd, Professor Vernon Shepherd, Because this is to be an historian, to be a history student, you have to can remember dates. You have to can remember. Big up my provider, my phone provider, power. My phone is power a long time. As we see them pop up on my screen now. A long time in a bigger flow. I'm powered by flow. And when I mention flow, I have to mention my friend down there at Fairview in Montego Bay. She's one of my first subscribers and she said she will continue to follow me. But you know history, a lot of people think history is boring and all that thing long. But my platform, I do historical presentation and cultural thing, and I love entertainment. And as I said, my people, I have lots in store, and up till now, I'm not getting my full. Who know that I'm an athlete? I know you have to warm up before you start, and even have a few meets, what you call it, few invitational meets before you go for the big championship, So when I start, I haven't been in my stride yet, even though I'm on my channel, my YouTube channel, KM Jamaica TV, just dig it up for some time now, I'm going good. When I get my little payment, I go see what I go feel more better. Hope that is not disappointing that me and man can't say the foolishness, I'm not gonna give up anyhow. I like the media. Perhaps I'm not that whatever professional at it. Probably I need to work behind the scene. Just like how you have the government people that work behind the scene of the world. I need some presenter with some pretty white teeth and and I will show them some of the ideas that I will go out and implement them. So come back to the podium. The granite sculpture that is I'm talking about. How I get there to be standing on the podium as if I wasn't even making I was there with my hands held up. Me a preacher man making a sermon, but I was more thinking of the deacon Samuel Sharp speaking to his group of people, the congregation, Yes. So I was there representing Sam Sharp there on that podium in Fenchurch Street. See? And I went on the podium with my friend. She took a photo of me on the podium giving my presentation, just like John Newton gave his presentation that inspires Wilberforce to become an abolitionist when he preached against slavery, the anti-slavery ceremony that touches Wilberforce's heart to know that the wickedness that they are doing, because Newton know the wickedness, because Newton, he is the author that wrote the song Amazing Grace, Amazing Grace. Yes, I have it in my note here, but I was going to go through the note properly now this time. Let me find the Amazing Grace. Did I make any? Why didn't I highlight some of the things there? Now that I'm searching for these things. You see? My people, I promise that I would have been making my presentation them better, I need some secretaries or some persons around me, man. But Amazing Grace, yeah, the song Amazing Grace was wrote by John Newton, and it was put in the hymnal, it put in the book with a collection. And next man that John Newton brethren, his name is Williams too. He have a collection of hymns that they wrote. See? So this Amazing Grace that we sing in church, Amazing Grace shall always, something like that song. For it was grace that bought my liberty. And just why Christ came to love me so. You lead me on my thought and saw my need. And I surrender, lift my eyes to Calvary. Something like I say song, I don't want to mix up two songs. I don't want to mix up it and the whole again. I don't know. But new Amazing Grace, man. I'm gonna look it up when I finish. That song was written by John Newton, the slave trader and preacher. I would say ex-slave trader, John Newton. Yes, John Newton wrote this song, the words. Yes, see me finding out. John Newton wrote the words of Amazing Grace and published the hymn in the collection with William Cowper. Cowper. Oh, so yes, so that all of this, John Newton, and when he delivered the anti-slavery ceremony that inspired Wilberforce, yeah, he is the man that do that. That is the little bit on John Newton that I did. So let me get back to where I was now. But the granite sculpture that was composed as a group of columns surrounding a podium, the podium called to mind the podium right up the pulpit, calls to mind the preaching, John Newton preaching from the pulpit that touched Wilberforce, and it also calls to mind the slave auction. John Newton, the slave trader that was selling the slaves, so you have the auctioneer and you have John Newton stay there one side of his slave, and he collects the money. Yeah, so the auction block from the pulpit, yeah, with the column stem. The columns also symbolize the sugar cane that my ancestors were cutting, you know, and our position and it also position to suggest a crowd or congregation gather to listen to the speaker. So there you know you have in this thing now for me interpreting this thing, you know, you have the speaker, you have Sam Sharp as I was on that podium. So the crowd now, that was the gathering of my ancestors that Sam Sharp were preaching to, telling them that we are equal. We are equal. God make all man equal. He never make the white man more than the black man. And you know, yes, so Sam Sharp was preaching to empower the congregation that listen, slavery, no man no have no rights over us to enslave us because they said that we are black, because we are black, we sin. Because you know that within this, the baptism of the enslaved, yeah, which I always say, the only time the slave master paid money during our period of enslavement was to get us baptized. And I've always said that the vestry of the church is now today what we call the municipality. Alright, or back in the day we said the parish council. So this is always a collection of money and everything to do with when it comes on to slavery. So the only time, so the church, even here on the island of Jamaica, we tell our people that the first churches that were here were the Church of England and the Roman Catholic Church. And all other churches that is on the island have to get the permission. So they collect money. So when William Wilberforce came to set up his Baptist Union, he has to pay the Church of England and the Roman Catholic Church in order to set up his Baptist Union. And all other churches that came on the island afterwards have to do the same. See? And for them to be converting what they call us enslaved Africans and to be baptizing us into their denomination, see, or into their religion, we have to pay. They have to pay, you know, so that is how probably every church, everyone get baptized in the Baptist Union would have probably paid the Baptist. The Baptist Union pay Church of England already to set up church, you know. So the Baptist Union now is going to get his money back now from the slave master to baptize the slave, because it is very important that the slave be baptized. Because by baptizing the slave, you have them, what you call it, under the control, the mind control. Yeah. You really just, cause remember that all these what is called name, William Nib, all these missionaries, all these preachers from the Baptist Union, their sermon was about for the slave to be docile, to forgive, not to harm, not to render evil to evil, not to kill and all these things, not to stand up against the oppression, but to know that it is, as I was going to say, when you're going to get baptized as an enslaved African or in slavery, you have to repeat, because they would have read something for you to repeat that you are this bad. That's why you're baptized, because you're black, because of the color of your skin makes you this evil. You would have to be baptized. So probably all the sun come wash me whiter than snow became because of your blackness. No, you need, but your skin color are gonna change. Only nowadays they start do the bleaching. Not now, long time bleaching are gone, but only way you could change the skin color is by bleaching it. Yeah, and you even right now Cartel with one of the man that was into the whole um the bleaching of the skin. Yeah, even though I heard a person saying that he is the person telling that you know for bleach your skin. See? The bleaching of the skin wrong, so it's a go on a long time. Yeah. So what I'm saying that is the only way you can get whiter than snow. You can't change the blackness. You can't change it. We know that there are persons we talk about the wonder bowlers and the wonder seizers that are not the wonder seizers are the black man who fight, who not sell out, who not give up, but the wonder bowlers are the ones that who gave in to. And me have to say this because persons see I might be contradicting or look as if I'm contradicting. I hear my sister say there are four things whatever is for you to know. But for what do you think again? We say an African running African program. You think you either go so, look like it goes or not go so. But all the while, as I said, I can't contradict myself, but if it comes straight. If I said I am chosen by my ancestors for this journey, but yet you might see me amongst white people, and you might think say me are wonder bowlers. But I ask them, all of my white people, if it's not me, you lead them. Because we know that even probably Sam Sharp, he used the Baptist Union to get to the message out or to get for the whole emancipation. When I say use, it was the church. So probably you maybe have association with all the white missionary or some form of affiliation with them. But he was a deacon in the church. See? And we need to get to my Mark Golden part that I was going to say about him being coming from England as a white man, yeah? I'm gonna remember that bit before I finish. So I come ready if anyone's around, they can listen to that bit. Oh, I interpret today. That's why I said 17 years ago, I went to this place and had this unveiling event about 18 years ago from, it was 2008, but the abolishment was, the structure was erected 2008. But in 2007, something took place. I will get that here in my note. Yeah. So no Marky G, no. Let me don't mix up the thing. Don't mix up the thing. Start mix up because I'll do the train of thought. Oh, Marky G would have come in now. Like all of my white friends now, I mix up the train of thought now. All the persons who see me run some white people, ask them. Dinner table, they might get it. No conversation, that's why I say we know. All my journey was all about my liberation. My ancestors them. People may cry, me go through it. No joke business. Some of my friends them get it. Any white person that used to tolerate me, me have to say to you, say, yo, hands up to you, man. Because I wouldn't have my conversations without mentioning the struggles. I don't just, it's really I would have sit around them and just forget and just having just ledgers like that. All the time. Nightmare. Nightmare. You can't just do music. We can't just do music. And even one of my brethren, one of the white brethren, I know that he was a 2-2. I don't know if he was getting Cause you have one of them some show me love. I don't gonna mention this guy. Show me whole heap of love and love me and embrace me in thinking black. But the other one, he was just tolerating I and I because probably he might be coming off a more from a different angles. Yeah, he never showed me no racism, but I know that he was too deep into the whole black man loving. Alright, to me still, but I'm just saying that, you have some, yeah man, some of the bridging them is like the Wilberforce man. So now with Marky G no story now. Yeah man, just put it on. You full up and me go turn off Just put it in the grass or water some flowers. You can't go and do that. You can't go and, me don't know if you're full. Yeah man, so Marky, you're there. Give thanks man, mechanic forward. So I can soon done. I finish up my reading before me done so. So Marky G will that be a Wilberforce, and the black people with there, I say Marky G, I say he might liberate but black man still in control because I have a group of black people running me family, and wife and everything, So Sam Sharp, as I say, it's a combination, It's a whole process is not just we are bridging as people about nationality, we're black with nationalism, we need that, and we need with nationalism because we listened to your speech last night, what the bridging from America, I'm sorry the name, I'm not going to make a note. I see you a long time, man. I know of your good wife from badass days, man. Badass days, bridging and come right. Where you going? Me up on a live, I come up, I drop up, I come up a while, yeah? You hear me? Me up on a live, me on my internet here, on the phone. Rest yourself, man. Like you walk from far. So, this is how I say now. When you say Marky G are British and all them way there, we have British friend right now who the struggles with I. I talk about modern day and today day. Them man they lick out, them man they do what them can do. Yeah. And then we through being in my research also, I found other groups and other persons. As I said, even some white women I would always say in England that were there when the ship would have come in, yeah, and they would have been like demonstrating, shouting against the old sugar. So this, as I said, from 1807, it was even you have a set of persons in they call it Clapham Sect. These are Clapham Junction, the region there. These are persons because Wilberforce had a church in Clapham. So his followers, they were also a part of Wilberforce preaching and doctrine against slavery. See? So this Clapham sect, which is a sect, SECT, a sect of white people, churchgoers, who were against, and then you have other movements, I hear about the Quakers, them, and you have other movements who were there in England. But on the island now, because they say Wilberforce is the abolitionist, but Sam Sharp died for this. Sam Sharp died on the island. So Sam Sharp and Wilberforce, all of them is abolitionists. See? But we credited Sam Sharp and the 500 others, and even after that there was another massacre for 200 after 1832 when they hung Sam Sharp. He was hung in May. See, then they have what you call, remember, the slave owners, they were very upset about the destruction to the business, when Sam Sharp, the fire that was started in 1831, December, it destroyed the whole sugar business, the sugar plantation burned down, the sugar field burned down, the boiler house burned down. They have to go back and rebuild and start over. So they get compensation. We get to understand they get 20 or much £1,000. These were the slave owners. So that is the legacy of slave owners. We're gonna go into that also quickly. Come and mechanic come. See? You have a place in a London, they call the legacy of British slave owners. See? Alright? So Yeah. So we have some big some persons them become red people them you listen now. Now for Marky G, you have white man on the island, cause I met one. He was with a black woman. He wasn't in too much. He said in a Bob Marley and all them thing when I met him. And him and I we start a business. Three of us was in this business. And I backed out quickly. From just going to have dinner, we had dinner a few times, we had dinner at this place, cause his wife, beautiful black woman. Seeing, we had everything. She works in the bank and then when we go and we had to have dinner, then me here make a few talk. Whether he's joking or not, don't joke around Marcus Garvey and Bob Marley for me, you know. From I left his dinner table, I said to my brother and say, yo, listen, me, I take myself and I back to my hill. Yeah. Back to my own to be on my own because with him we would have like incorporate. He would have do certain things. He might have some machinery in what we were doing and he would have financed the project, but we have certain of the skills, we have the knowledge and everything and the time we put in. So we were sharing this business. But because him talk against Bob Marley and Marcus Garvey for me, I back out. My friend never back out, but he's now in England. Seeing, but I back out. And same thing with my journeys. I've been through a lot because of the stands that I make, you know. Being done there in a Babylon, here in a St. Paul's walk. I back me back out. Nobody not fire me. When I left them, miss me. Them sorry. I back me back out from them thing and I do a lot of that. You know, making stands, fighting like my ancestors, them as I say, I'm on the journey here. So the sugar cane, the structures they evoke the stem of sugar cane and our position suggesting and a crowd or congregation gather to listen to a speaker. The artwork that is what I'm talking about, how I got there, is a collaboration between sculptor Michael Visocchi and poet Lemn Sissay. Since Sissay is Ethiopian, you know. Extract from the poem, Sissay poem. The name of Sissay, from all me talking from morning, I don't give the name or the title of this thing. You can go look it up on the internet. The Gilt of Cain. The Gilt of Cain, G-I-L-T, the Gilt of Cain. You know, Cain and Abel. And that culture, they engrave the poet, part of his poet, you know, in the pulpit. They write it there, inscript it in the and it is a coded language, you know, of the city stock exchange trading floor with biblical Old Testament reference. So this poem is a coded language of the stock exchange and the biblical Old Testament scripture. So when you read it, it has something you're gonna see. I'm gonna go into it. The poem is skillfully weave the code language of the stock exchange and the biblical reference of the Bible. The Gilt of Cain, that is the name of the sculpture. There, the monument there at Fenchurch Street, there at the Fenchurch Court, in the churchyard, here opposite the Bank of England, that was erected 2008 when the sculpture Michael Visocchi and the poet come together, collaborate. So on the building, you have the monument, the sculpture is a granite sculpture, but in it then inscript writing, and it's from some of the writing from in that pulpit, that podium, is from the poem. So the poem by Lemn Sissay, 2007 he wrote this poem. Yeah. Here is the ask price. I'm saying the poem now, quoting. Here is the ask price on the closed position. History is no inherent inquisition, for here the technical correction upon the act, a merge of truth and in actual fact on the spot, on the money, the spread. The dealer lie when the dealer said the bull was charging, the bear was dead. The market must calculate per capita, not head. And the great traders acting in concert, arm raised as the actual fraud of the sea of franchise, throw overboard into the exchange to drown in distress. Brokers disconsolate, from in frown in accounting liquidity is a mountain mobility, but raising the arm with such rich rapidity on the reaping, the raping, the rapturous fluidity, the violence, the vicious and vexed volatility, the roaring trade floor rise above crashing waves, the traders buy ships beneath the slaves, sway machete back, sway machete again, cut back the sugar, rush cane. The whip saw it all, and the whip saw it all, the rising market and the cargo full. Who will enter Jerusalem? Make the margin call for Abel, McCain and Abel, the brother Abel. Who will kick over the stall and turn the table? Cain gathers Cain. Cain, the brother, you know, gather Cain as guilt gift to his hand. But whose sword of truth shall not sleep in hand? Who shall unlock the stock and shears, break the bonds, the bind unbound, lay bare the truth? Cash flow run deep, but spirit. This is the part. This is the part that is in the sculpture. Yeah, this is the part that is engraved in the sculpture. Cash flow run deep, but spirit deeper. You ask, am I my brother's keeper? I answer, by nature, by spirit, by rightful laws. My name, my brother, William Wilberforce. But may I say my ancestor, Samuel Sharp, Baba Samuel Sharp. The project was initiated by the Black British Heritage. Yes, the Parish Church St. Mary, Walnut, and it was commissioned by the City of London Corporation in partnership with the British Land Company. The line of the poem that was there, this is what I just read, that was inscripted in the monument. And the sculpture of Gilt of Cain was unveiled by Desmond Tutu, Bishop Desmond Tutu, in commemoration of the bicentenary of the abolishment of the slave transatlantic, this, you know, in abolition of the transatlantic slave trade in 2007. 2007 was the bicentenary. So the sugar cane, the pulpit, and the slave market. Remember John Newton, who wrote the song Amazing Grace and published in the collection of the hymns with William Cowper. But John Newton was a slave trader who then became a pastor, and he became the pastor, the rector for the St. Mary Church right there in the City of London. The City of London is just the square mile. Yeah? The square mile that was built on the back of slavery. Just as you cross over London Bridge, me tell you, after you hold the trip, the ship, when the ship comes from off the sea, it can go down the Thames River. But the furthest it can go is right at London Bridge. It can't go no further. All the many other bridges, Westminster Bridge, all the bridges that continues along the Thames. It's only the tower bridge is built to open the road that car, vehicular traffic and use can open, the bridge open. You can go even to my sister channel, she do, I think she might have a view of the bridge opening, you know. When the bridge open, the ship comes through. Yeah. And this ship will have carried the rum, the sugar. I need to big up before I leave my brethren village food season. Today we're celebrating on his channel Jamaica Independence Village Food, my brother. We know about the East India company We know that slavery continued in India, with Pakistan, I don't know wherever you are, my brother. Thanks for the love you show to us Jamaican, in our journey, I know you show, as I said, we need to unite, globally still. World people need to come together. And me soon come here, bro. So when you go to the little inner city, the train where I was saying to the monument nearest to get to the monument, nearest station is the bank. But you could get off at Blackfriars, you have monument station, the underground station. And in that area you have the Bank of America, the Bank of China, make note of it. The St. Paul's Cathedral, the Bank of England, you have the Gilt Hall. Gilt Hall is one building that I'm sorry, because the way I was working at St. Paul's Walk, we were also, our staff works also at Gilt Hall. Seeing? So many times the waitress, because they have shifts. They say, oh, I'm working later this evening or tomorrow I'm working at Guildhall. So I could have been to Guildhall. I sorry I haven't been there to see for myself what it is like. And His Majesty even went there, when he was doing his exile in England. He was invited. It's a town hall, it's a city hall where they have events and there big functions, important functions. So the British abolition of slavery came in two parts. The abolition of the Slave Trade Act becomes a law March 25th, 1807. So March 25th is a date. We must remember 1807 is when the abolition of the slave trade become a law. So then say, yo, listen, this is a law now. Slave trade is illegal. No more that. But it's still permitted, but which left slavery itself still permitted until Slavery Abolition Act. So listen my people, you have the Slave Trade Act, the law, the Slave Trade Act, May 25th, 1807, and then you have the Slavery, Slavery Abolition Act. So you have the Slave Trade Act and you have the Slavery Abolition Act, two different laws. And this one was passed in 1833. It is 1 year after the Angsam Sharp. The Angsam Sharp 1832. But in 1833, so this is how we connect that the Sam Sharp rebellion is also called the Emancipation War or the Baptist War, because Sam Sharp is from the Baptist Church. It's through the Baptist Church Sam Sharp used to organize these people to make this demonstration that everything that ends up into a riot on the island, a war, a rebellion on the island, burning of the plantation and the greatest houses and the boiler houses, threatening to even in my community. The slave owner was there at his house, at his yard, at the estate. And he went back to England and giving to the parliament, he gave his report. Because remember they were giving their report in order for them to get their compensation. So they were actually at the Westminster Parliament telling the parliament what took place, what transpires in December 27, I think it was of December 1831. How the rebellion started. Yes, I'm calling. See? And he have to give his report as to what took place, and yeah. So you have the act was passed after the law, the slave abolishment. Remember I said after the whole burning down and people. Most of the persons that lost their life were our ancestors. See, my ancestors. I think a few slave masters were even were unalive or anything like that. But the one from my plantation, John Bailey, he went back to England and he gave his report at the parliament. So in 1831, remember William Wilberforce, and I always said, where the Baptist church in my community is one of the first church set up. I've always said, oh, the slave master stood on his property and pointed his finger to the missionary, said, go over there and set up the church. You know, showing where to set the church. He didn't probably don't have to travel, just point and say, oh, this you could build a church over there. Because you could stay up at the great house and look at the church over there on the other side of the hill there. Alright? So which caused in the British Empire to end slavery, and they say emancipate slave at August 1st, 1834. So the history is saying that it's 1834. So from 1807, slavery still a continue 1807 up until, yeah? We can lock it off. Alright, we'll lock off everything now. Till we lock off the pipe. Till 1834. See? That was when the emancipation, August 1st. It's a slave, but the slavery continued in India and a place they call Sile Top, where they were not free until 1843, when the Britain took over the East India Company. And here, on my note here, I have the legacy of the British slave ownership. William Wilberforce campaign to abolish slave in the British West Indies, and slave abolition act, he passed that. No, but you know, William Wilberforce died, you know. He died before the slave abolishment act was passed. So the first one he might campaign for, lobbied for in the parliament was the Slave Trade Act. And then in 1833 they passed the Slave Abolishment Act. But William Wilberforce was already dead 1 month ago. So it was after he died that they passed the act. So he actually never lived to see the act pass where they say slavery abolished, 1833. But then, it was 1834, they said that we were emancipated. See, 1 year after that. Some persons in my reading will know that is 1838. So, as I said, Shamshat was what? 31 years old when he died. But when he was a boy, he born, Shamshat just said he born 1801. So he was 7 years old when they passed the first, stop the trading, say the Slave Trade Act. From him at 7. And it continues, slavery continues until he becomes 31. He was hung for it. And even though Sam Sharp was hung for it, they still continue because they never want to stop the business. They never want to stop the trade. They were making money. Remember, I said these are the inner city. I said it's the financial state of the world, the richest square mile in the world. See, they never want to stop. So even after 1834, they continue even up until 1838. This 1st of August, but they always hold the 1st of August as the date for the abolishment of slavery, emancipation of slavery, I would say. But today is the 6th of, wow, on my live and direct, did they get over there? I hold up on lentils. But on the 1st of the 6th of August, the independence. So we got our independence from Britain, England, the 6th of August, 1962. See? So still how many you check? If you check from 1838 to 1962. That's why they talk about the another day they celebrate bicentenary. Hey, when I can't beg you to go turn off the pipe for me. I take a break. How you take a break? How could I take a break? You don't want to leave me life. Don't want to leave me life at all. So yeah, man. I want to leave the live at all. Before end my life. Hey, who me can ask to turn off the pipe for me now? I want somebody. 1 second, my people. Keep it. Where's the fireman? You call me? Then you say you come in to expect if you call me. You say you forward me, I expect you. Sorry man, so because you call me delay. But why would you ring my phone? So I'm there for the phone and also I'm there for the phone and ring you. And you, hey, how you say if you go out the road? Sorry about that. Oh boy. Some of people have to close live now. I hope did I get my message across how I said I mystically was led to and why I think it is important for me to hold on to this and say I'm writing the history. To know that I'm from such a parish where slave where it says even today I would say it still lingers in community because through religion and politics it also really lingers in the community. That some people them don't even know that they're African, they still say that, and though they don't align themselves with their ancestral spirituality. And so because I avail myself now and through before I travel, I find that I get a lot of guidance and protection and a lot of things, and mystically, I just end up traveling through London this day and end up at Fenchurch Street. Next thing I end up, I saw a person standing, I saw a monument, and not even, and then when I make inquiry, there was the sculpture, there was the poet standing there were a few other persons standing there, and then I say, what? This a thing go on, and then I end up taking a photograph of it. I've taken myself on the podium, taking photographs standing amongst the cane. That I have been amongst the people standing when Sham Sharp making his presentation, or I am Sham Sharp on the pulpit making that presentation. So hope that you get the understanding of the reason why I think that I should state this on my channel, my platform, make it documented, because if I don't tell my story, just like they say it's history. If I don't tell my story, because in one thing I was listening last night that the slave trade is the white man's story, but the resistance or the suffering and the struggle is the black man's story. See? So if I don't tell my story, how I even you get it? Yeah. Under the metal or something there. That's for end my life, Mechanic even waiting on the parts now to sort out the car. So guys, wish me all the best with my vehicle. As I travel along, I will go to some of these historical sites. I will be more visible. Alright? So bye now. Bye for now. Bye for now. My mechanic is here is getting impatient in a way. So tata, thanks everyone. And I hope that you go back and watch some of the clips or watch some of the review of the just review my life, go my life, and later on I'll be there more comfortable on village. I hope that even if the mechanic outside working, I will be on trying to get on village to celebrate. Last year, people, it's contradicting. I'm not really in the independent business, that is it. Come here, some soldier. Why you do that? You're good for that. Good, yeah? Respect. So we can't spend too much. You might want in parts. You need to get the parts in the house. I have to go. So, yeah, look at more village on village. Come on, Jamaican people, let's go and support Virgin Village. I say my Virgin because every man have a brother, every man have. For racist to it, for rude to it, for for unjust to it and all these things. You understand me? Because if even my brother, Like me own a black brother and you're racist or oppressive to me. May I go have it out. As if we are freedom fighter. Simple like that. So love to everyone, yes sir. And that is what we right now we are saying at Jamaica to the, me war go on, but me hear Marky G say I love him I say. So if me not say love, we don't want no war. So you can love and hate can never be friends. So don't make up in your mind. Alright, my people. And have a good day and look more out in independence. I hope my vehicle fix I'll be on the road. Watch out. Rastafari. Yeah man. Big up. How me end this thing now? Me end it now maybe. Me I end my brethren. Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is it that? Yep. Oh, come again. Come again. Come again.